Subatomic is a deck-building game themed around the intersection of particle physics and chemistry. Players try to build elements using their subatomic components in order to score points. Each player starts with a small deck of up quarks, down quarks, and photon cards that they use to create subatomic particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Players then use these subatomic particles to build available elements and thus score points, or buy even more powerful cards for their deck in order to score points more efficiently later on in the game. Each player will use their draw pile to replenish their hand throughout the game. The cards in a player's hand at the start of their turn are called their current hand. This current hand, along with any energy tokens they may have from previous rounds, are their resources for that turn. Any cards a player wishes to play from their current hand must be placed into their cards in play area directly below their player mat, unless otherwise specified on the card. At the end of their turn, a player must move all cards from their cards in play area and place them into their discard pile. That player may keep as many cards in their current hand as they wish. When a player has no cards left in their draw pile, they immediately shuffle the cards in their discard pile and place them face down as their new draw pile. The player with the first player marker takes the first turn, and then play continues clockwise. The active player's turn consists of two steps: first playing cards to take actions, and second, refreshing the play areas. On a player's turn, they may play cards from their current hand to take as many actions as they wish until they no longer have enough resources to take additional actions, or they decide their turn is over. Build up your atom to claim an element card. Claim an element card to score points. Buy deck-building cards to strengthen your deck. Take energy tokens to store for use on later turns. A player may play a card into their cards in play area either face up or face down. Cards played face up gain the benefit on the face of that card. Cards played face down have a value of 1 energy and may be used to pay for any actions. Cards played face down and energy tokens can be used synonymously to pay energy costs. At the end of a player's turn, they must move all cards from their cards in play area to their discard pile. A player may keep any unplayed cards in their current hand. That player should then draw cards from their draw pile until they have 5 in their hand. Fill any empty spots from purchased element, single subatomic, or large subatomic cards by sliding each remaining face-up card in that row to the rightmost empty spot. Then, fill each empty spot by placing a card face-up from the respective deck, beginning with the rightmost empty spot. The active player's turn is now complete. The player to the left of the active player may now begin their turn. Repeat rounds of play until one player places their last 2 goal markers, signaling that this is the final round. Play continues clockwise to finish that round, ending with the player directly to the right of the first player. Then, starting with the first player and going in turn order, any player with goal markers remaining may place exactly 2 of them on any end goals. Players then calculate their final score. There are 2 ways for a player to score points: from element cards they claim during the game, and from end goals that correspond to those element cards. A player scores points for each element card they claim during the game equal to the mass number of the element. The players with the most and second most goal markers on each end goal will score a number of points for each element card they claim during the game that matches that end goal. If players tie for either most or second most goal markers on an end goal spot, they add the number of points for the tying position and the position below it and divide those points as equally as possible between the tying players. Add the bonus points from the end goals to the points from element cards. The player with the most points wins. If 2 or more players tie, the player with the most atomic mass remaining on their player mat wins that tie. If there is still a tie, the player with the most quarks left in their deck wins that tie. Building up an atom is the process of incrementally adding subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, and electrons, to the atom on your player mat. The goal is to build an atom that matches one of the face-up element cards, so you can claim the element card to score points. To add subatomic particles to your atom, play cards from your hand face-up in your cards in play area to pay the cost associated with the subatomic particles you wish to create. Then immediately add the subatomic particles to the atom on your player mat by moving the appropriate particle markers along their respective tracks. The point value of an element card is equal to its mass number, the number in the lower right corner of the card. To claim an element card, a player must have accumulated on their player mat at least the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons shown on the element card they wish to claim. Then, pay the energy cost directly above the element card they are claiming. Place all 3 of their particle markers back onto the holding locations in the upper left of their player mat. Place that claimed element card face down above their player mat, and place 2 of their goal markers on the end goals. There are 5 end goals: helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, and element set, on which players may place their goal markers to potentially earn additional points at the end of the game. Each time a player claims an element card, that player must place 2 of their goal markers on available end goals. A player may never place a goal marker on the end goal that matches the element card they just claimed. However, they may place both of their goal markers on the same end goal or on 2 different end goals. A player may always place their goal markers on the element set end goal. Players may never move goal markers placed on previous turns. When a player places a goal marker on any one end goal, they may choose to take the bonus tile on top of that end goal. However, they may only take 1 bonus tile per element card claim. They may use that bonus tile immediately or any time on one of their future turns. On their turn, a player may play cards from their hand to buy deck-building cards to build up the power of their deck. This helps them to build up their atom more quickly later in the game, and thus claim element cards more efficiently. The cost to buy any available deck-building cards is shown at the bottom of each card. Scientist cards have only an energy cost listed on the bottom right. However, many of the single subatomic and larger subatomic cards have both an energy cost and a particle cost listed on the card itself, in addition to the energy cost corresponding to the column on the game board in which the card is located. To buy a deck-building card, a player must pay at least the particle cost listed on the card, and at least the total energy cost. Newly purchased cards are not active, rather they are immediately placed into that player's discard pile. Empty spots left by purchasing cards are not refreshed until the end of the current player's turn. Energy tokens provide a way for players to store energy from turn to turn. A player may play any number of cards from their hand face down into their cards in play area and take an equal number of energy tokens. Each energy token costs 1 energy and is worth 1 energy. A player may spend 1 energy to remove all the cards from any one row of a single subatomic, larger subatomic, or element cards, and replace all cards in that row with new cards from the respective deck. New cards are drawn from the top of the respective deck and placed face up, starting with the rightmost open spot. Then, cards that were replaced are shuffled back into their deck. A player may spend 2 energy to draw an additional card from their draw pile and place it in their current hand. A player may spend the amount of energy shown on the annihilation track to remove 2 cards in their current hand from the game. Pay the energy cost indicated by the current position of the annihilation marker on the game board. Choose up to 2 cards from their current hand to remove from the game. Move the annihilation marker 1 space to the right on the annihilate track, unless it is already on the rightmost space.